41 champion mechanics that only one tricks could know.
The wall in the back of Baron Pit without her evolved form. You just have to use her Q sideways through the wall and you'll phase right through. This
I didn't
even
know
allows
this.
her to dodge wards that enemies place against an expected late invade so that she can do things like this. And on Jace, you can actually disguise the animation of your Q by doing the laugh emote with control 4. This way enemies can't even tell when you're using it.
What the
You
fuck?
can also fit in an extra auto attack after you knock an enemy away with your E by just spam right clicking on your opponent the moment after you use it. Combine the two for some insanely strong trades in lane that your opponent just can't see coming or counter. And on Poppy, it's actually possible to predict exactly where her passive will land after you throw it, so you can be ready to pick it back up for the shield. It flies in the direction of the closest wall, so if I stand here, it'll go to the right since that's where the nearest wall is. But if I now go here, it'll just go to the left this time, because now that wall is the closest.
Oh.
And on Ezreal, after you E towards an enemy,
Yeah, this one I know.
Q without moving your mouse, your Q will automatically aim directly at the character that your E just hit. But why would this ever be useful? Isn't it better to just...
It's not just your Q though, it's all their spells.
Yeah, it probably is, but only if you can actually see your target. Say an enemy has run into a bush, and you don't have the ward to see where they are in that bush. If you use your E towards the bush, and then use this trick, your Q will shoot directly at the enemy and will be aimed perfectly at them, even though you don't have vision of that enemy inside the bush. Now most of these mechanics are new to me. I only know them because I went through and asked every single one trick I know out of the thousands of students I've coached, and I asked them all to show me the most unknown mechanics and interactions that their champion has. And from everything that they taught me, that's how I made this video. I've also attached timestamps for the video, so you can always skip forward and check out what works for the champions that you play if you prefer to do so. So stick around because
Is it that long? No, it's not that long.
Just like I did, about the champions you probably thought you knew everything about by now.
My name's Rogue and I played League of Legends professionally for 7 years. Now I'm...
Let's kick the video off by looking at my former one trick. Now on Thresh, when he hits his hook, there are two distinct pulls where he pulls his target closer to him.
Yeah.
But if you reactivate his Q too early in order to fly towards the target, your hook will only pull your enemy once,
yeah,
which is obviously just worse in almost every situation.
Yeah.
As a bonus trick for you as well, you can also disguise the animation of your extremely obvious Hex Flash by using an auto attack. Just auto attack a minion, then instantly charge Hex Flash, and the enemy won't even know that you're casting it until it's already gone off, and
like he says, like you can still see the Hex Flash particles. That's what I look at. The Hex Flash particles is what gives it away.
On
Shaker, you're not really hiding it that much.
You will appear in the direction that your mouse was facing the moment that you use the ability, with your clone facing opposite you. For example, if I put my mouse to the right of the screen and use my ultimate, I reappear on the right while my clone reappears on the left. This obviously has some uses for the Shaco player, but
you can go over walls with this.
Sometimes identify the real from the fake. If a Shaco player is running away, their mouse is usually pointing in the direction that they are running, which means most likely when they ultimate, the real one appears in the front and the clone appears in the back.
True.
A really stylish combo you can do on Zac is to cast...
You should have shown that you can jump over walls with it though.
Now normally your skills will be grayed out while traveling through the air with Slingshot, but if you first use Q on an enemy, then Slingshot with your E, the moment you get out of range of your Q and it breaks, it will actually bug out and you regain the ability to cast your ultimate while in the air.
What the fuck?
You to hit the fattest drive-by on the entire enemy team. Also, if for some reason you ever change your mind about wanting to go in, you can actually cancel your E mid-air by just activating Hextech Protobelt.
Oh, this one I know.
Now I want to revisit some champions from my intro whose tips I didn't quite get through fully yet. Now as a reminder, some runes in the game have a stronger effect for melee champions than they do for ranged champions.
Oh, he's gonna talk about the Grasp.
Dying, for example, does
Jace
more
melee
damage,
range.
and gives more permanent health if you are a melee champion than if you are a ranged champion.
True.
This can easily be abused by some champions, most notably on Jace. If you auto-attacked in range form, but switch to melee form before the auto-attack hits your opponent, you will receive the increased damage, healing, and max health as if you were a melee champion, despite the fact that you used a ranged auto-attack.
Yep.
Another common play on this mechanic is when playing with Conqueror on Jace. Jace can use his range form W to give himself attack speed for the next 3 attacks. If he stays in range form, he will gain 1 stack of Conqueror for each of the attacks he does. But if he uses his range W, then swaps into melee form, he retains the attack speed still, but now receives double the stacks of Conqueror for those 3 auto attacks, making him extremely fast to stack it when going for an all-in. Now for
Makes sense, yeah.
Bel'Veth gains attack speed for the next 2 attacks she does after casting a spell. These attacks can be stored, with the stored charges of her passive shown by this indicator. The reason this becomes interesting is when hitting towers. Unfortunately for Bel'Veth, her E can't hit a tower, but it can stack her passive, increasing her attack speed. The only problem is the attack speed you gain isn't worth several seconds of doing nothing while casting your E on the floor. But Bel'Veth mains know that you can cancel your E by using Q or W. So when attacking a tower, you should cast your E, instantly cancel it with another spell, and then hit the tower with the increased attack speed you now have because of all the passive stacks you stacked up. Speaking of taking towers fast, Samira can also use her E dash on enemy towers. Now you know. Not only is this useful,
This one I know, but it's like random, you know?
but Samira's E gives her attack speed. So if there is no one around, you should just be using your E on the tower to take it more quickly because now you have attack speed. Now let's do a quick section to show some awesome champion combos that you can do. On Camille, if you hookshot a wall and flash the moment you make contact with that wall, you can still reactivate the second part of your E for an insanely long gap close. Here's a clip of Bin doing the combo at match point of World Semi-Finals.
Bro, this was
He
crazy.
versus W mid-combo. How insane is this guy, by the way? Meanwhile, I failed the combo twice, just trying to take a clip of this video. Oops. As a quick side note as well, you can actually see enemies in Fog of War with your E. It has small indicators that point towards nearby enemy champions.
Oh,
even
what
if
the
you don't have vision
fuck?
of them.
I didn't know that.
Here's the most insane brand combo that you've never heard of before. Start off by ulting a minion. Yes, use your ult on a minion. Your ultimate prioritizes enemy champions, so we'll
Let's play Yunara.
shortly after. Once your ultimate hits the minion, it sets the minion on fire with your passive. Now use your E on the minion. Your E is quicker to cast and will spread because your ultimate applies your passive to that minion. This spread E then spreads to the nearby enemy champion, lighting them on fire with your passive, which then means that your ultimate now gains its bonus for hitting an enemy affected by your passive burn, which for his ultimate is a slow. Now that your opponent has reduced move speed, you can finally gap close closer to them and follow up with your Q and your W. Here's the
What
combo
the
played out in
fuck?
real time. This is for sure an insanely cool combo that will allow you to gap close and catch out other ranged champions that are playing far back outside of your usual champion's range.
The time has come to
Here's my
prune the
favorite Lee Sin
tree.
combo. If you throw Q, instantly ward hop and use your R, your Q will always hit, because your R has a long enough wind up animation that your Q always has time to catch up to you. The same is true if you Q, then flash, then R. You can combine both of these tricks together for an insanely long range one-shot combo that your opponent can't react to.
Pretty satisfying, yeah.
On Galio, you can E and flash on your opponent and you'll still get the knockup. This can also be used backwards to catch your opponent off guard out of nowhere. Props to the real goat who discovered and posted this video. Thanks for letting me steal this one. Katarina can jump over most small to medium-sized walls by using her W against the wall and then just jumping to it with her E.
Yeah?
This can actually be used on
This one I
quite a
know.
few walls. Another interesting thing about her that I only just learned, her ult has healing cut. Did you guys know about this? Am I just crazy?
Yeah, it's always that healing cut. Even
It's
like
with
back
Sion.
before the
You can
rework,
use
get a
Sion
healing
features
cut.
delivered here. On Sion, you can cancel your ultimate early by reactivating your R, of course, but there is a small lockout period after you initially activate the ability where you can't yet end it. The Sion tech, though, is that you can end your ultimate earlier than what is usually possible by using your Q. Here is a side-by-side comparison of two Sions, with one who can end their ultimate much more quickly, as you can see by using the Q trick.
Oh.
Sion can also jump over champion-made walls like Anivia or Talia with his ultimate if you get the timing perfect.
What the
You just have
fuck?
to reactivate the ability just before you hit the wall, and if you do so, you'll pop right through. Another fun little tidbit to add on top is that Phase Rush's cooldown will always get reset when you die, so if you enter your passive, it will always be up.
Huh.
On Blitzcrank, have you ever had this happen to you before? Yeah, it's really goddamn annoying. Well, here's why it happens. It's because of tenacity. Your hook has a mini stun at the end of its duration. Without tenacity, this is enough to keep the enemy crowd controlled until you can cast your E and knock them up. But if the enemy has some Merc Treads or some other tenacity, then they'll have time to get the flash off before your punch goes through. This can easily be countered though by using your ultimate towards the end of your hook animation and then following with your E. The silence from your ultimate is enough to block your opponent's ability to flash until the E knockup goes through. Check out this insane bug I found on TF that allows him to stun enemies with his gold card through spell shields. Okay, just kidding, this isn't actually a bug. Activating TF's ultimate will actually break all spell shields, like Sivazi or Banshee's Veil.
True.
So you can simply activate your R when your gold card is midair to break any spell shield and surprise your opponents. Here's an insanely cool combo you can do if you have Yasuo and Alistar on the same team. Alistar opens with W, then Yasuo instantly ults. Alistar waits for just a moment before then using his Q to chain off Yasuo's ultimate. By the time Alistar's Q is finished, enough time has passed that his E is fully stacked and he can use that as well. This is a guaranteed combo that has more than 3 seconds worth of crowd control, with Yasuo freely hitting for the majority.
That's why playing as Yasuo bot lane, if they have something like Alistar or Rakan, is so fucking annoying. Like, it comes to a point where they just start fisting you.